In 1943, the design community in this country thought we could build an airplane that would go up to or exceed the speed of sound.
It all started with Bell Aircraft's XS-1, better known as the X-1, the first aircraft to safely exceed the speed of sound. Its mission was to investigate the possibility of manned supersonic flight. The test program, which had 157 flights, was designed to safely explore transonic speeds while examining structural and physiological phenomena. Fueled by supercooled liquid oxygen and diluted ethyl alcohol, the XLR-11 rocket engine was capable of producing 6,000 pounds of thrust. The X-1 was loaded into the bomb bay of the B-29 bomber to be carried aloft to its launch altitude. This procedure saved the extra weight of fuel that would be necessary for the aircraft to power itself to the thin, cool air of the stratosphere. On October 14, 1947, Chuck Yeager became the first pilot to fly faster than the speed of sound, Mach 1.06. When the mothership reached 10,000 feet, Yeager descended from the B-29 by using a specially designed elevator that carried him to the cockpit of the X-1. At 10:26 a.m., the X-1, nicknamed Glamorous Glennis in tribute to his wife, was dropped over Rogers' assault on the sound barrier.
And they dropped it from the B-29 at about 240 miles at 25,000 feet. Then we fired off the rocket and accelerated out beyond the speed of sound.
Yeager took the X-1 to 45,000 feet. At this altitude, he leveled the aircraft. He now ignited the third rocket cylinder, which provided the thrust to propel the now lighter aircraft past Mach 1. Yeager's supersonic flight lasted 20.5 seconds, nearly twice the duration of the Wright brothers' first powered flight 44 years earlier. The 14-minute flight established a standard for all future flight testing with the research aircraft that were to follow.
All right, finally, October 10th, 1954, and I've got my next X-2 spaceplane ready, the X-2 Stiletto. This is a little more of an advanced design, and the idea is it has the rocket engines on the back to get to higher altitudes. I have advanced the cockpit, so it should be able to get as high as I want to get right now. I think that the advanced cockpit drops it from 30 kilometer maximum altitude up to 70 or 75. So we got plenty of ceiling range. Played around quite a bit to get the shape down. It's aesthetically pleasing, let's just say that. I do have two emergency chutes on the top. I did test this in the simulator and during the design phase, and these two will slow the aircraft and gently drop it down fairly well balanced out, or I can use the back chute just as a braking mechanism. There is also an emergency escape system. There is a decoupler here and a couple parachutes behind the cockpit, so in the event of a true emergency, it would still save my pilot. So enough talking about it. Let's see how it runs. Put the SAS on. Designed this for air launch capability, but for initial flight I thought I'd just go from the ground. Okay, we're about halfway through our fuel. It goes up even a little further. See if we can get some altitude behind us. engine's fairly well in the center, so we can compensate. There's 20, just as first engine cut out. A little more burn time left here. There goes the second engine. Past 25. There's no record for 25. The next mark, I believe, is 30, but don't think we're going to get quite to 30 this trip. I'll flip her up. You can see the control I got there with a little rudder on the bottom. Gives us a lot more control. There's the airfield. Pull nose through. So you can see we got basic roll control there. And you got the whole back wing surface moves for flaps. And you got sharp control on the bottom and a little bit on the top for yaw, and kind of proud of it. It's a nice design, one of my better ones. Yeah, let's get the gear down. Gear's down and locked. Obviously you're going to overshoot the airfield, so I better go for plan B. Go for safety first on this one. Hate to lose the plane on the very first flight. Degree slope. Kilometers. Got a cruise speed record 600 meters per second and a cruise altitude record 30 kilometers. There is 40 kilometers. I would count that as a pretty good mission right there. 140. And brakes. And there you have, folks. Yes, I can land a plane without parachutes. Just isn't easy, that's all. And a picture for the record books. Seem to be hanging right on the 320 at 11,000. Looks like we'll get about 44,000 on this one. Not bad for a standing ground launch. Next we can push for a airdrop launch. So we'll be out of the lower atmosphere and not have to fight our way up off the runway, burning off a good portion of our fuel doing that. There's our 44 mark. This portion of flight, pretty much waiting to get back into the atmosphere so your control surfaces have more purchase. We are something of a supersonic glider, so you don't want to be too radical when you do get control. You can rip your wings right off. Alright, I'm getting some bite now, so I'm slowly bringing the nose up. And braking. Well, I don't have enough speed left to make it all the way back to the hangar, but I have to say, that was kind of impressive. Also gives me a chance to play around with a little bit of a cinematic here for you. Feel for how this goes, so I'm going to go about instruments for a little bit. There's our 15 kilometers. So, mission criteria. Yep, just got to return home safely. 700. I was coming too fast, so I decided to go for the chute landing. Okay, we're on our way. Speed up right now. So put my nose down a little bit. When I get up to 550. There's 500. 550. Got 770 speed going into this. Keep my nose up. And we should be looking at 54 kilometers altitude. Now we got our crude altitude record, 50 kilometers. Again, to repeat, anyone that tries to do this hasn't done before, this is an upgraded cockpit, level 2 cockpit. If you do this with the basic X1, you will pass out anything over 30 kilometers. This one's rated up to 70, I believe. Getting some heating in the nose cone. 55 kilometers, and an airspeed of 700.
Can you use this time and make up EVA?
So that's going to wrap up this episode, and a very successful series. So they're going to be at different types of high altitude supersonic flight, low altitude supersonic flight that I'm going to have to tailor the missions to. So more to come, but for now, this is Grizzly signing off.